We're over here tapping in with KWJT, Puget Sound from space. I'm over here with Corey. You're tapping in with Tavares and sliding with Solana.
Don't look at me. Do
All right, you already know what the fuck's going on, man. A whole lot of KWJT shit, man. We love to start the show off with two things. You guys know what's up. A whole lot of love for our groovers out there. We appreciate you guys for tapping in with our endless content. You feel me? We do appreciate you guys showing the love at home. And Tranquil Forest, a whole lot of love for you guys. Thank you so much for providing the finest for us and continuing to support us in our ventures. And without a further ado, Ski, I would like to introduce this week's guest. We got Thad up in the motherfucking building.
Yo, what's good? KOTH, Thaddeus David, More Gang, BTM 3A, Laced Up, all this shit. Yeah.
I like to always start with, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are y'all gentlemen doing this evening?
I'm really...
Morning.
No, same. I'm good. Battled the rain traffic this morning. No one can fucking drive anymore. But
yeah.
Other than that, I'm really good. Slid to grab Tavares, and now we're rolling. I'm always really excited about pod days just because it's like there's like 2 days I'm like pod day and like drop days are like my most like I guess internet traffic-y days because I'm just like, all right, what did I miss? All right, didn't miss this or didn't like just go over in notes, and then just seeing the people just like get that experience of like who we sat with and just like digesting the like excitement of, oh shit, you got to connect with this person. So like it's always like really good.
There's always a lot like leading into that time too. So it's just like all the prep going into it. It's like a show day or a drop day
Yeah. So I always love it. But I want to start with just your long history just in the Washington space and this Seattle culture.
Okay.
Where are you originally from? Where were you?
Okay, so I grew up like Skyway, Rainier Beach area. Caught the 7, 106, 48, all that, like growing up. I went to preschool at Pike Place Market, you know, that little random playground that they got that's like in the middle.
Yeah.
So I was like playing on that growing up. And then I went to St. Joe's K through 8, which is on Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
And so I was catching the 48 every day back and forth. And then I went to SAS for high school, which is on Capitol Hill too.
Yeah.
From like 19 to now, kind of just been jumping around, living different spots in between Capitol Hill and CD. Yeah. So from South to CD to the hill, type is my stomping grounds for the most part. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think catching? Because I went to because I used to live in like up the hill. What would you call that area? Bryn Mawr. I used to live in Bryn Mawr. And I went to school at Nova, so I would just take the same trip more or less. So
I used to live on Cherry right across the street in those apartments with the courtyard.
Yeah,
I used to live there for a minute. Yeah.
How do you feel like that? But like seeing the city on the bus that way, how do you think that like impacted you to like today? Just looking back on it.
Man, it was different. You know what I mean? There was everything that was going on at the bus stop on Henderson, and then there's everything that's going on with the kids that go to Meany and everything back in the day, and then just like waiting for the bus. How long is the bus being late? You know what I'm saying? How many variables can come between it? You know what I mean? So I was on the back of the bus with my little headphones, the joints that like wrapped around the back of your head type. You know what I'm saying? And listening to everybody else's conversations, whether they were at Seahawks Academy or Meany, or nobody was going to school where I was that was on the bus with me. So it was like, it made for a very like well-rounded experience as far as like going to a Catholic school with like private school with like predominantly wealthy or financially rich families and stuff, and then going back to the South End and doing that. So
it's like the two different worlds of Washington.
Yeah, and then like demographic, financially, ethnically, all the different like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Differences as far as like being predominantly white and like all that type of stuff as well.
Yeah, that's a trip because the same shit happened at Nova. It's just like no, like you guys, you understand like Washington, but you don't really get the reality that like I really travel back to or just like see on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
So it makes those like it makes relating like different because you like you understand, but you're like you always look at them like you don't really get it.
Right. Like I identify with a part of all these different groups or all these different types of peoples for different reasons, and I still have relationships with all these different types of people from all these different types of backgrounds and walk of life, and you know, I feel like that's the dopest because then that like gives me the well-rounded experience to become who I am and just like encounter all these different types of people and see what they got going or like what they consider to be normal, and you know what I mean. So
no, I feel that.
Yeah.
We're gonna give our first round of applause before I jump in.
Okay.
How did like in high school were you noticing what was like the Hill was creating at the time, or like because to me the Hill like shifted. I when I started coming outside, it was like everyone was like, oh, it's over, it's been over for like 5 or 6 years, but you were on the Hill at the height of like all the fun and like when it was really like a cultural experience. Like what was that like in like from middle school to like high school and really be able to like
it was definitely different, you know what I mean? Like it's funny because you'll see like all these like old vanishing Seattle shit, and it'll be like the Taco Bell that was on Capitol Hill, the Taco Time that was on Capitol Hill, and like I remember literally going to these places when there was the Jack in the Box across the street from Seattle Central, and they had the bathroom that locked that was outside, and people would be in there jugging whatever it may be from your whatever you liked to whatever you're into, and it was different. Like 35th North or 35th South, Tony and Ryan, they had been up on the Ave. So when I was in high school, 35th opened. So I was like in there hanging out a lot after work or after school. Yeah. And then there was like Seattle Retro Shoe Store and Sal's that was back over on Olive back in that time period, like 03. So I'd go over there and kick it after school and just be kind of posted up, soaking up game, talking with people, you know what I mean? So, it's changed a lot. Like when I was like 18, 19 and I was working at Laced Up, which was the storefront before it was like Alive and Well, and in between then it was also a gallery. There was this bar across the street called Maharaja, and that was kind of like the bar where you know that everybody can get in regardless of if they got ID or not, you know what I mean? So I've been like out in the nightlife since I was like 18, 19, as far as like going out and actually physically being in the bars and drinking, kicking it, you know what I mean? And experiencing all that. Like there used to be a Wing Dome like over by Olive and like
fire.
Yeah. So it was like Monday Wing Day and then like go hit Maharaja. I had my first spot at 19, so I was on Stewart and Minor, like right by where the 24-hour fitness is, like on top of that Alfie's Mini Mart. Yeah, so I was there like at a young age and having my spot and just kind of having it be like a little flop spot at the time just because there were so many homies and I was the youngest that had a spot at the time, you know what I mean? And
so everyone would just come crash at that. It's like, oh, we fucked up. Whose house we going? We're going to that house. You already know the answer.
Right. My rent was $585 when I moved in there.
Damn.
I could see the Space Needle out my window.
Damn.
$585? That is insane.
It is insane, bro.
That shit is like 4 times now.
Yeah, at least. Easy. You know what I mean?
And they shrunk whatever you had. They put that shit together.
You could live in an apartment. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, shit, it's different. Now they got the parking spot that you're seeing online for $50K or whatever to sell the parking spot at a garage. You know what I mean? Like on the hill.
Ridiculous.
You seen that, right?
Yeah, I did see that. That was man, it's almost criminal. I would say it is. It's pretty much criminal. What, I would say the city is doing with its neighborhoods that are creating like illustrious historical moments that make the city so cool.
Yeah,
they've been putting price tags on like our culture for
sure.
the longest.
Most definitely.
I think that's just completely insane. If someone told me $50K for this parking spot, we'd have to throw mitts right there. Like, no, it turned into a $50K fight.
Nah, for real.
Winner takes all.
Yeah. But it's crazy because you'll be in these areas, like you'll be on Cherry and you'll be around all these expensive houses, and then there'll be like a free living situation like right behind the AM/PM. But it's like, how are people? You know what I'm saying? Like, what qualifies you to like? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you got to go to DSHS? Like, is it the same? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I gotta talk to you to get this free housing, but
right. That's bigger than the $50,000 spot that you could probably rent out and trap out and do whatever out. You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
we're heading into like a weird. I always say this, like a weird point of like nobody from here really wants to like live in the places that they love. Like we either are way north or way south, and like that's. I feel like for Washingtonians specifically, is like that's an out of body experiences because we're very much like a neighborhood culture, like most places. So like
most definitely, and prideful about that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? South and Siva. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, people got their names and they're from places and they're proud of that. You know what I mean? As they should be. But the places that you're so proud of being from have changed so much radically that, like, if you were to take somebody there now and be like, it used to be like this, or it used to be like that, like, if they didn't know about it or they can't see pictures or videos or a hood to hood or something like that, then they're not really believing that like that. You know what I mean? Kind of similar to like the Bay, except for like everything is transforming, and especially through COVID, but like not at the rapid pace of like Seattle in the Bay. You know what I'm saying?
No, they're
Washington in the Bay.
They're like tech money is like rewriting so quickly, and it's like a weird, not weird, but it's the narrative is like it's helpful. Like in both places, it's just like the tech money is like helpful, but it's like, is it like there's no reason that right there on like when you get off at 157, there's like each like both lanes have just divots in it. I'm just like, what we doing with our tech money for real? Like,
and what are the people that are getting the tech money doing to contribute back to the city or to the culture? Like, you don't see no techies at no like shows. Like, you don't see them at Aisle 4 when the pop ups happen.
Exactly.
Or like, you don't see them at Paradise South. You don't see them at Numos or wherever a show's taking place. You know what I mean? So a lot is being taken, but a lot is not being given back. So it's like a stripping of the culture and the community, but just to be like at the house, at the apartment. And like, the way these apartments are made these days, there's so many amenities for like people that work at home. So they're just posted and they just have people over and play table tennis and go kick it in like the top floor and look at the Space Needle and have
the grill up there.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not necessarily, from my experience, contributing back to the beauty and the culture and everything that's like made our city so illustrious, especially through 90s and stuff with like all the culture we've contributed. And
I would absolutely agree. It's just like I can name you the buildings they live in, but I could never tell you what they added to it.
Right.
Or like, even the area.
Well, and then like South Lake Union used to be a lot more lit too. Like that park when you're like going towards Denny, towards like the track, like Aurora, like that park that it's all lit up now. It used to just be bummed out and like over by where the Amazon campus is and stuff. I used to work at this hotel, the 6th Avenue Inn, right in front of the Lusty Lady. And like, that was like or not the Lusty Lady, Little Darling, sorry.
Yeah.
But like, that was like when the King Cat Theater was around and like raves were popping. And I remember like, you know, that was like a chill area budget hotel. Like, you know what I mean? But now it's just like, that's Amazon campus. That's like, you know what I mean? You can't get in anywhere without having a couple bands for whatever you need.
Exactly.
You know?
Or they're just boarding it up. Or the city's hoarding it for the people that they deem qualified to like have the space. Like there's like I think of like downtown on 5th. Like there's so many, everything on that like block is basically boarded up. But I'm just like, if we're not doing nothing with it for the city, who are you waiting to sell it to? Like, what are you waiting to put there?
Right.
So I'm just like...
Yeah, it's crazy because, like, the old Brooks Brothers that's hella big on 5th, like, is now the Bembridge. And, like, it's like, so what's going to be the Bembridge? And then, like, I don't know. There's so much that's occupied, but there's so much that's unoccupied, like you're talking about. But at the same time, like with the state of the world today and like COVID and everything and recession and all that, like you would think that there would be officials in whatever parties or whatever places that would be able to like appoint that to be something productive or something that gives back more to the city. But I mean, shit, we got our president giving out crack pipes, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, like also it's like hella late. Like who smokes crack anymore? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no facts.
They might as well give out some needles. It feels like that's more like catered towards like the meth audience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now Portland's doing very interesting things. When I heard they were giving out crack pipes, I was like, weird.
How much was it? Like $3 million or $30 million that they were like putting into it?
It was a huge lump sum. I know that for sure.
Yeah, it was some mills.
They created a whole like funding project for it. And don't get me wrong, I don't know. I won't say it came out
when was
like
the last time you saw somebody smoking crack. You know what I'm saying? Like,
man,
tell that your story.
Actually, quite often I see some old school smokers. They're like actually what the very grim fact about this is I don't think it was crack. I found out that there's been this Metro article and people coming out and saying that people are smoking fentanyl at these, and they're calling the buses drug dens. This is all from like articles being written by like who knows who, the Seattle Times like editor or whatever. But I don't like your statement is correct for sure. Like who is smoking crack? They're smoking a lot of different shit.
People are smoking more spice than they're smoking crack. You know what I'm saying? Like. Or from what I know,
no, that's the truth. Is you don't really see people like hating crack like that. I see needles and I see a lot of pill bottles, but there's not
even like in like the side effects from the drugs. You see a lot more nodding and knocked out than you do see. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Belltown is like the last of the crack smokers, and then by the time you get to the courthouse, you got all heroin. You know what I'm saying? Like.
No, that's actual facts because I sit there every day with my bus and I see all this go down.
They got people selling shots, like people running around with a half gallon just selling shots, like and heroin. You know what I'm saying? Like
what you need? You got a cup? Oh, you don't need a cup. I got you.
Right,
man.
Yeah.
Groovers at home, we're like 80 episodes in and we're still talking about gentrification and the climate of Seattle. If you're not like listening to us, like, man, you got to listen to us. This is a absolute insanity that we have this huge, I wouldn't say divide, but this huge like different cogs in our city moving apart. And, you know, you have all of us fighting within each other. So, man, we got to make a difference.
And that definitely says something if all your guests can relate about it and have something to say about it as well. So, and I'm sure not all of them are originally from Seattle even. And so, like, if they've been here 10 years, a dozen years, and they still feel that, then you know what I'm saying?
It's apparent as hell.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, before we move on from us talking about the Hill, I wanted to ask you how the city actually took in or their response to the arts booming at the time, because it set a precedent for the rest of the generations, and more so speaking from the city's perspective.
Yeah, so like the arts, like the actual art, or like the culture, like goods, 35th, like
all of
stuff.
it.
Yeah.
Like, what made the Hill the Hill?
What made the Hill the Hill? Man, so many different things. Like it used to be more outcasty. You know what I mean? Like. I used to be afraid to be on the Hill when I was like 6, 7. You know what I mean? I'm like, Mom, why they got mohawks? I don't understand. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just seeing so many things that were different from where I was living versus where I was at and stuff. And now it's like the polar opposite where everything's just normalized on the Hill. And just like the Hill used to be like for the outcasts. Like, you know what I mean? The people, like, it used to not be booming like that. You know what I mean? You used to be able to go in and casually get a drink. I mean, Comet, there used to be shows on a regular basis. I remember seeing Jarve at the Comet, like, you know what I'm saying, with Larry Mizell and his group back in the day and stuff like that. Just like chop suey and all that stuff used to be way different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All the bars used to be different. There used to be this bar called like Kinkora, and like shit used to go down there, and like I don't know. It just seemed like there was a lot more that you could get away with, a lot more that was going on like a underground, like, ooh, you gotta see, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like secret society, but like just also right in the middle of it. And just like I feel like that's the thing where it was like it was right there, but so many people ignored it for so long, and then it just became like this hot spot. And like I don't know, like now it's just like all douchey tech bros and like SU students, you know what I mean? And like, yeah, you know, it's been a lot different. But the art scene, I mean, it's crazy. There's like not really shops like that I mean, there is, you got like Bait, which is like, but that's like a corporate entity kind of at this point, you know what I'm saying? 35th is still there, but there used to be Goods. There used to be Laced Up. There used to be Alive and Well. There used to be Winter Circle.
Yeah.
Shout out to JR with Stray Rats and CBI, Central Bookings and all that. But like it just everything was different. You know what I mean? Like the Trash Talk. You know that band Trash Talk that was signed to like Odd Future and shit. Like they're from Seattle, and like some of the people in the band used to work at Winter Circle, and like you used to just be able to like. I don't know. It was just all different. You know what I mean?
Do you think you were like the access to what was cool at the time was like not, I wouldn't say easy to access, but once you got in, it was very easy to just like move through?
I feel like just like popular culture was different back then. Like in like 2005 through 2010, like rap may not have been the number one genre. The like people might not have known who KOTH was, or like somebody that was the equivalent of that during that time period. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like less people did know about it. You know what I mean? Like I remember when Diamond was like new and dope. You know what I mean? Like I remember like when they had like the Iron Maiden flip shirt and like all that type of stuff, and like whatever, you know, like LRG was cracking, like, you know what I mean? And I was out there on the hill, you know what I mean, wearing some LRG. Like, it's just like, but like people weren't messing with it like that back then. Like, I feel like now everybody dresses like, they're like, oh, Air Force One is like the staple shoe, like where probably then, you know what I'm, and that's like, that's a hip hop in New York, African American, like, you know what I mean? That's type of, you know what I'm saying? So everything that's popular now is so different, whereas that was popping, but like the people that clung to that were like a smaller community, and that it was more coveted, or like,
okay. What do you think the end was? Like, what led it to end on the hill? Like, what did you see start happening towards like the 2010 time to be like, oh, this is we've lost it?
It's funny, like I feel like show support, like when show support and like big local shows started like kind of like falling off, that's when I felt like the scene kind of started falling off at the same time. Like I don't I can't tell you like what exactly like led to the end of that, you know what I mean? But like lines, everybody not wanting to be in there, like when you get into a spot, like, you know, when you go to a spot and people are like, was it fun or was it cracking? Like, it's cracking now, but it's not fun. You know what I mean? There's hella people there, but I don't necessarily just enjoy being around a whole bunch of people. Like, I enjoy being with quality people that like have something to contribute, or that like when I say hi to them, they don't look at me crazy, or like, you know what I mean? Think that I'm trying to like impede on their situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, that type of thing. You know what I mean? Because I feel like that's easily confused. People want to be where everybody else is at just so that they can say that they were there. But did you enjoy yourself? Did you have fun? Like, did you just get stepped on a whole bunch? And like, you know what I'm saying? Or like, I don't know. I enjoy my personal bubble. I enjoy engaging and interacting with people that like are receptive and that are on some cool shit, not like on some like stuck up, like, you know what I mean?
What you got going on over there, stay over there.
Yeah, snooty. I feel like everything's a lot more snooty, and people, because of the rise of the culture like that, everybody's a rapper now. Everybody's got videos. Like, when we were first dropping videos, nobody had videos. You know what I'm saying? Like, Twitter was new. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like the accessibility of everything. And I think like with social media and culture and everything, it's so much easier to access those things. You don't have to go outside. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when people go outside, it's for different reasons now. Like I remember being young and like not even having a plan or an agenda, just getting fly because I just like knew I was going to go out and be moving around and like I'd wear the same outfit way more, you know what I mean? And
exactly.
Shit like that. Like it's
they
just
didn't
like,
see it on Tuesday night.
yeah. But like now everything's just so like, I don't know. Social media has made everything seem so normal that's not normal, that and obtainable, that you don't have to be there in person to like be there. Or like people will gain notoriety or following and respect based off of a persona that they've only been able to access through a screen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, but like back then you had to be outside. You had to like your name, like my name rings bells. Like, you know, like your name literally had to be ringing. It's not like not your @ was ringing bells or like you got hella likes or you had some crazy hashtag idea or some promotional concept or whatever. You know what I mean? I feel like there's a lot more gimmicks just with like people in general or like things that have to be attached, like bells and whistles, and like that's a lot of, I feel like, what killed stuff. Do y'all agree with that?
No, I definitely agree because like I love, that's why I hate buying online. I do it for like certain companies that I'm not going to Chicago or LA every time I want something, but like I love the feeling of walking into a store and meeting that person that like you're there every day. So like I want to know that what I'm buying is attached to quality people, and I feel like that art is really lost, and like the internet has changed a lot of like quality in a lot of shit. So I'm like I'm a big person that like I wouldn't say lust, but I love the pre-internet, like your guys' time of just being outside and just experiencing things for the first time and just being able to like see what's cool in real time, because you got to like, oh, this is like, no one has this, and this is like a cool story.
But I can still access it. Like,
exactly.
Like 35th used to have dunks, like SBs sitting on the shelves, like Barfs, Jedis, different types of things like that. Like, I remember the first pair of dunk SBs that I got, like, and then people not even knowing what dunks were, let alone SBs. And I was cutting the straps because I didn't give a fuck, but I had baggy jeans, so I wanted to let my tongue hang out. You know what I mean? Get that tongue fuck up word to Jim Jones. You know what I'm saying? But for all my, you know what I'm talking about? Full size,
full size,
the FSR Army and all that.
Shout out to the gang.
But like all that shit, like, and now it's like to the point where it's funny because you say that, and I used to feel exactly like that, but now it's to the point where it's like I only cop on the internet because I want what not everybody else has, and I want to have something different because I feel like everybody can like go and get this, and I still want that like exclusivity or like that to differentiate myself and stand alone. And like the fucked up thing is like back then it could just be like your style or like how you chose to represent yourself. These days it's usually affiliated with like financial gain or like how much can you spend on this to be exclusive, and that's what really separates. And like that's fucked up, you know what I'm saying? But that's the way the world is, you know what I'm saying? Like when I was 12 or whatever, I was trying to be on Nike Talk and like find out about when J's were releasing. You talk to a 12-year-old these days, they're talking about NFTs and cryptocurrency and trying to revenate, you know what I'm saying? And come up with new inventive ways too. And that's dope, and I applaud that, but that's not necessarily like, that's a culture, but it's not like, it's enriching, but it's not enriching in the same type of way.
You can't grasp that, you know?
Yeah, it's not.
The whole idea of like NFTs and like how I could... It's like, it's really weird. It's like you can walk into this shop and you see the Puget Sound from space, but this man owns 1,000 copies of this Puget Sound from space picture. And you want to buy one, but they're like, oh, there's only 1,000 in the world. And here you go. Let me jack up the price for you so you can get this one out of 1,000.
Yeah.
So you can feel 1 ounce of like how it felt owning the Puget Sound from space. That was just a small example.
Right. And it's all about the exclusivity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like how you feel, but like what is that contributing to other people? Like, whereas if you bought a piece and you had a gallery space and like people could come visit that, and then you could create other streams of like interest for other type of people. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's
to answer your question about like on how like culture is being grasped these days. You know, we have a lot of like remnants within the town of the kids who are actually spent time outside. Embrace
for real. Like, outside, like actually outside, like yeah.
It's really interesting because you can. I don't know. I feel like I feel that when I'm meeting a new person or so to speak, meeting someone like you who actually grasp the outsideness, the going to the hill, choosing to get fly and hopping on the bus to head out there. You know, those are things that stand out to me because, you know, it leaves off like this, I would say like an uncertainty that like, hey, I don't know what's going to happen today, but like, I just want to go out and do it. There's a lot of like people we've, at least I've met through the Groovy tapes, that still hold that to heart and still hold that feeling. And you see their brands and their likeness and their, who they are as a person shine, just because they've felt the human interaction. I think what a lot of, the difficulties these days is, as you said, the technology is getting in the way. Social media, you only know my persona through social media, but you never like shook my hand or said hello, like how are you doing today? You know, there's that small ounce of like human interaction that goes like a longer way down this whole like business line or this whole like arts community that we are still trying to uphold.
And then with that, like I feel like social media, people won't know you, but they'll swear they know you, and they'll know the type of person that you are based off of like some social
only
media.
I post.
Yeah.
The only things you know is the things that I post.
You know my fun days. Like that's
Right.
for real.
This is
like,
a highlight reel.
Exactly.
You know what
like,
I'm saying? Like, yeah.
You know what I'm eating because it's fire, and you know where I'm having like a good night. You don't know that those other.
You don't know that it took me 3 hours to get here.
Exactly.
That I talked to about 3 different crackheads on the way here
Yeah, right.
because they stopped my journey. And one of them asked for $5, and I gave him $5. He came back, he asked for 10. And I was like, bro, we're not bros like that.
Give me my $5 back. Nah,
You
bro.
see the DiGiorno pizza before I pulled up at the art gallery, and they had the fine dining little snacks on the plates that I showed you. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, or like when I came in and like I was talking to your lady and I was like, so like what do you do creatively and or like do you contribute to the creative world? And she's like, yo, that's funny, nobody's ever asked me that before. I was like, that's wild. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I feel like having those types of interactions and like being in the culture and being able to be outside, like you know how to operate around people that you're able to have those types of relationships and like not just be able and be like, so what do you think about Donda 2? Like, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like we haven't talked about no rappers or nobody else or like, you know what I'm saying? But we've been, you know what I mean?
We're sitting here for half an hour really getting into shit.
Yeah,
and
for real.
And I just feel, I feel like if you are outside experiencing things, you will always win just because like you can't experience nothing sitting on the bench. Like you can read about it. You can do research up to your heart is content, but you'll never know until you experience or just have that awkward conversation or get in that room and be like, all right, now what? And then just have to like figure out the now what. Like those people always like break through and make it to the top and last just because they know what it's like to get money. They know what it's like to have that interaction, you know.
And you can't log off of life, you know.
For real. And like everybody's so into like laws of attraction and like energy and stuff like that. But if you're being stagnant, what is that energy attracting? You know what I'm saying? Everybody's so into like, oh, what sign are you and da 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 da. But it's like you can read all you want, but like if you're not actively pursuing these things, like, and that carries over into the music. People be like, yo, how do you got a song with Payroll and you shot a video with Payroll and shit? Well, I went to Detroit and I paid that man and I flew out there and I took a risk and you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
I did the work and I did it in person though. That always makes it like a moment. Like some of our, like all of our favorite moments about life are two people who met and created something or just like talk game, or it's never from like, oh, like I read up, like unless you're like a producer. Only producers like read about their other producer homie and find that like passion. But outside of that, unless you're like a real music nerd, you got to go out and see the people.
And that's a beauty within itself, you know what I mean? Because, like, producers, they're behind the scenes, so it makes sense that you would be behind the scenes. But even, like, back then or whatever, producers would have their relationships with, like, the record stores or the different places like that, and that would link people together before the internet and stuff like that. Like, producers running into each other digging or whatever the case may be, you know what I mean? Like you have to have presence. Facts. Outside of the internet to have presence or to be affecting the scene or contributing to the scene, you know what I mean? Like
that's a fact.
Like I know so many rappers. Like, okay, let's talk about like a Travis Thompson. Like he used to just like be a younger dude that would be on Twitter talking about a whole bunch of rappers from Seattle and stuff. And then it's beautiful to see because he contributed to that and like wanted to like help other people and was like generally into that and like would be pulling up to shows, and now he has sellout shows and like has all that following and has that type of rapport with his art, you know what I mean? Or like, and you know, I'm sure you remember that, right? Like
going from podcasting to like, and even that, like we've had conversations where he was just like, I wanted to know the rappers and I was doing like the tweeting, but he was like, how do I actually meet these people? He's like, I started a podcast just to meet rappers, but like, he still like was like, all right, I got to go outside. Like it still was like, okay, I could tweet to these people, we can talk about it, but I still got to go. All right, it's time to go outside and meet them and just shake hands and rub elbows because it's like.
And even then, Twitter was a new thing then. It's like, how long has Instagram been out? And that's like, you know what I mean? The end all be all, or like to some people, you know, or to, in my opinion, too many people. You know what I'm saying? And yeah,
it's different when you get to like see somebody and just really get that experience.
Like young people's source of news these days is like Say Cheese, DJ Academics, and like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, that's a fact. I can't.
Trap Room, they got
Shade Room, whatever. Baller Alert, like you know. And
Suarez got Academics beef, so.
I do. Well, it's not. I mean, like, you know, he don't know who I am,
but once he does,
exactly, still on side.
Exactly. He don't know it yet, but he got beef in the city.
It's something that I can't get right with you, like to attack people's character and your whole platform is dependent on the people. Is just something that doesn't sit right with me, you know?
I remember the War in Chirac when he was first coming out, before Complex, before all that type of stuff, just because you want to know what's new, but then at the same time, you're outside. But, like, all that, he's a strictly indoor. And you can tell by the type of talk that and how reckless he is and the lack of respect that he has for people just on a general, like, it's all what can you do, not how can we build, or like, you know what I'm saying? So I
wanted to ask you about the importance of building relationships in other cities, because going to Detroit and just building that face-to-face network, like, is something that forever, and you can always take that with you wherever you go. Like, how important is that to you?
It's important. I think that you know, like making those relationships organically more so than business, especially in hip hop these days, because people are so like one way, you know what I'm saying? That it's more important in like real life and like these other things, and catching the relationships with you that you build with people that aren't on that platform quite yet. You know what I'm saying? That haven't quite, because everybody's going somewhere, but like for like instance, when I go out there, like that's cool, you know what I mean? And I can keep up with some of those people. Like Peasy and I will still randomly DM each other. Or like when Babyface Ray came with Jack Harlow, like his manager Diego, who shot the video for Peasy and I, like he hit me up, you know what I mean, tap in, say what's up, and like that's cool, and it makes me feel good. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, okay, like they still fuck with me, you know. But like it's more like the people like Toeb or like people like that I've known for a long time that like maybe haven't quite done that yet, but it's right around the corner for them. You know what I mean? Because everybody doesn't move at the same pace, but like maintaining relationships and like that type of rapport with people and respect and like just like, you know what I mean? Moving on your own and then like letting those things form back together. Like Toeb will tell you we hadn't seen each other in like a couple years, you know what I mean? But like that relationship is still good.
Solid
like,
as hell.
You know what I mean? Whether it's Umi or whoever, like I remember when Umi was down in Cali still at the hundreds and stuff and I don't international swings or Roach or whatever. He was still Roach back then, and like I do a joint with him, and I met Umi, you know what I mean, and then be out there, and like this was before Crispy was rapping, and Crispy did the beat, and like he was just here from St. Louis, like you know what I mean. But like knowing all these different types of people from like these beginning times to where they are now, you know what I'm saying, and like I feel like that. Those rooted relationships and like maintaining those and planting those seeds are more important than like the like meeting a big rapper and then trying to like be like, hey bro, like you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't like asking people for stuff or like asking people for like favors. I'm pretty independent and just like you know, I don't want to be in debt to people.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
You want to know it's love, and I don't gotta. If I ask for it, it's not like but I'm gonna need it, and instead of like, oh yeah, that's love. Like, I might need something later in the future, but it's not like I'm gonna need something later.
Because
in the
you
future.
want that, right?
Exactly.
You want somebody to like respect what you're doing and show you that same type of love and like give you that little bread. I'd like to think that what I ask for is what I'm worth and more. You know what I'm saying? So like, people will feel played because you ask for something for what you do, but like. Because they're trying to make something for themselves, but they haven't even put in the work to like get that cracking. And like, I you know, I don't got the connects that PZ got. I don't got the connects that Payroll got. And I don't have the buzz either. You know what I'm saying? But I do have the bread here. Let's work. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
And I think that, for me, I just want like legacy and like the things that I wanted to do or the people that I looked up to or the people that I fucked with. And cause I know that, it's not as much about the people that see that I have a song with Payroll. It's about the people that like are like, damn, I could do a song with Payroll too, or like I could do, you know what I'm saying, inspire somebody, and that transcends, you know what I'm saying, and that type of energy or that type of inspiration, you know what I'm saying.
No, that's a fact. I've been really locking on my hand claps today. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Before we spark this joint and get into our lovely sponsor, I wanted to ask about meeting a young Toeb. Mm-hmm. What made you important, like bring him in outside of him like being on the hill? What would you see at the time that you were like, all right, you can come and like fuck with us and like be in the shop more?
Yeah, because I mean, it was like that whole group of Tacoma kids, and like they would come up together. You know what I mean? And you could tell that they had the unity within themselves, and that they had those relationships within themselves. Whether it was Toeb, TV, Umi, whoever that like was in that group. What's my guy's name? There's other homies from that same group and era that were like kicking it together, like you know Deidre.
Probably by face, but not by name.
Yeah, and like I forget what her dude's name is, but he used to be at the shop too, and like they would come together. You know what I mean? They had like their own swag, and they would come and they would like fuck with us, but you could tell that they already had their own situation going. You know what I mean? They were already heading that direction by themselves. You know what I mean? So. While I'm at the shop and like P or whoever and I are posted, like I'm trying to have those conversations, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to sit behind the laptop and just be like stuck up and like, you know what I mean? Like I want to communicate about those things. I'm trying to learn something, you know what I mean? I'm also trying to pass something on so that I can like, you know, I'd rather leave the impression and like have somebody feel inspired than like, you know what I mean? Because
then feel discouraged or just like, oh, quit that. Don't do that.
Or feel too good about myself or feel like I'm this holier than thou, where like oh, I got this on, like, I can't fuck with you, you know what I'm saying? Or, like, you know, you don't even know about that yet. You're not even, you know what I'm saying? Especially in a place like this where we don't have the spotlight like that. And, like, there's so many people that are coming from here and making their own way. But, like, you know, people ask you, like, what's the identity of Seattle? What do you feel like Seattle hip-hop sounds like? Yeah. And, like, shit like that. And it's, like, it's everything, you know what I mean? And, like, we have a good melting pot, but it's only because you're coming out and you're talking to people and giving them game about this, or you're coming out and then you're showing them this clothing brand and you're opening doors with Al 4 or whatever, or I'm, like, moving around and, like, giving them game about, like, traveling and doing whatever, like, my past and, like, all that, you know what I mean? That good cook-up, yeah.
And I love that about Washington. I think us as the musicians here the hip hop musicians need to accept that, like, we won't ever, like, we'll always sound like we're on the West Coast. That is what I always love. But outside of that, you may get a different sound just because you grew up in a different neighborhood and they weren't playing West Coast or, like, heavy West Coast music where you lived, or, like, you didn't you were on the internet early, so you didn't find out about, like, what was going on in your side, but that doesn't make your sound less Washington. You know, like, I feel like most music, doesn't matter the beat, the cadence, like, the voice, it always has a West Coast feel. Like, and I just feel like just because it may not even be a West Coast beat or West Coast anything, you should still embrace the fact that we are able to find a sound that's different from where we're from and make it and tweak it. And, like, whether our voice, our language, our, like, there's things about it where I feel like should be embraced, because a lot of cities can't do that. They're very pigeonholed in, like, if this is an LA rapper, like, if you don't have an LA classic or a LA, like, West Coast feel song, like, they don't really fuck with you. They can't claim you because, like, you don't give that feeling.
If you don't rap on a beat that sounds like an old mustard beat, and, like, with, like, a little bit of Detroit, you know what I'm saying? And, like, I feel like what you're saying, like, everything will sound West Coast, and not to, like, keep relating Seattle to the Bay or Seattle to Detroit, but, like in the Bay back then, there was, like, Hieroglyphic, Souls of Mischief, then there was E40, then there was Spice One, then there's, like, all this other stuff going on. Then you go up to Sacramento, you got Black Market, you got Brother Lynch, Mr. Doctor, X-Rated, and all those sounds are so different. And, like, then you go up to Vallejo, you got 40, you got, like, you know what I'm saying? And, like, it's like, that's gangster rap, but that's mob music. Yeah, that's gangster rap, but that's, you know, hyphy. Or, like, oh, yeah, that's, like, backpack rap, but those niggas are really from the turf. You know what I'm saying? Or, like, you know, and, like, the same with Detroit. Dilla, Slum Village, and then having, like, a Payroll and, like, or a Royce the 5'9", and you know what I'm saying? And, like,
forgetting that M still, like, is from Detroit, you know, like, and none of no, I know from Michigan.
No, he's from Detroit, and, like, apparently him and I Swear Vezo are from the same hood, so that's what Vezo says. You know what I'm saying?
I would, God, there's certain things about Eminem I just wish I could just, like,
ask him
just, like, what the fuck, like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
how was mom's spaghetti?
Exactly.
And, like, but now he's got the establishment. You know what I mean? And, like, it's crazy. But, like, you know, just to, like, add to, like, there is a sound for these places, but, like, back in, like, the early 2000s or the 90s, it was okay to have, like, all these different types of styles going on within the same area and still have the respect. Like, Del the Funky Homo Sapien, his cousin is Ice Cube. He used to write raps for Ice Cube. And, like, you wouldn't think of Hieroglyphics and think of NWA. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
but it's like, he still grew up in the same, like, he still knows the same stories. He just, like, he just likes different
Del
shit.
probably was in the hood more than Ice Cube was in the hood. Let's keep it a buck.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
facts. And
just, like, shout out to both of them. And
will you have me a lighter, boo?
No, I think what I take from what we were just talking about is man, truly the sound is in the words. I feel like we can sound like anything out here, but I can tell from the words that what our artists say, what our musicians say, that are like, oh, those guys are from the Pacific Northwest. Like,
Yeah.
they're talking about trees and blunts and
Hellas.
and
Filthy.
They're like filthy. Yup, yes sir.
Yeah.
You're not dirty, but like it's like that's the distinction I've made, just being able to be a part of the community and finding myself here in the space. It's like everywhere I go, I can tell like someone's from Tacoma.
Yeah.
I can tell this person's from Federal Way. You know,
from the North End,
Yep.
like the different type of
From
white
a-
boy you are. Are you from Ballard or are you from Lake City?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I like my shoreline white boys a lot better. Than
Greenwood, Shorewood, Shoreline. Yo, and that's crazy. Like when Shoreline Mafia came on, I'm like, these fools are from Shoreline.
That's what I
that
fucking
literally
thought.
almost killed me because I was like, bro, these guys look just like some shoreline.
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
And like that's when I thought Jeezy was white too. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, yo,
You guys from the north, like
Is that a
okay,
mini mart up on the road?
yeah, like shout out.
and they're on graffiti shit. Too.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's some Seattle shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, they're just some Hollywood kids. Groovers. I'm about to try this new sound effect for this for our sponsors.
how's the sound?
It's like a Latin. It reminds me of like what I like breakfast. Like that. That's the best way. Like it would be playing as like the sun is like at that like weird point, and it's like a little cloudy. That's
So
what.
nice.
Yeah.
I just had to ask because you're the only one with the.
I know. I'll play it after.
You know what
me see a cup.
CS Bout a Bag is over here sparking up. We got that good pick and roll in the building.
Shout out Benito.
Come on.
Shout out Benito forever always. New Pheno. I don't know which do you
It's Gary Payton and Sherbaccio.
I like that.
Yeah. It's probably
Yo,
it.
last time we-
Sherbaccio is a mix as it already is. It's
Yeah.
Sherb and the
They over there crossing motherfuckers for
Yeah.
real.
No, this is
we mix
is
the
my
AI with the skip to my Lou. With the
this is by far my favorite, like one of my favorite strains that's coming out. This, the Scotty Piffin, and the Angry Birds are probably my top 3 right now that are coming out that I want to be out right now, but it's not.
I buy street weed, but if I did buy weed in the store, it would be Tranquil Forest.
That's a hand clap.
Street weed got all those healthy pesticides that the fucking state fucking
Them healthy pesticides.
stop. You know, they're like, oh, you use that? Can't fuck with that, bro. That's not a state certified pesticide.
It's like niggas that want to do ecstasy still instead of Molly. Like, nah, give me all the shit that was in the pill as opposed to this pure Molly. Like,
Nah, I need the uncut version. Nah, don't step on mine. Step on mine.
yeah. Give it the remix. one
Exactly.
time. You know what I mean? I prefer the Diddy version.
Exactly. I wanted to talk to you about getting dressed because you have some of my favorite jackets, and they seem to be all one of ones. Either like you designed them for yourself, and I recently designed a jacket.
Yeah.
But it's probably the hardest fucking thing to just figure out what you actually want on an item, and you do it very effortlessly with your own brand as well as like just things you'll make for yourself. Like where did your sense of style come from, and how are you able to like bleed it into like today?
Man, 100% just looking in double XL and looking in shit like that, like, and just being influenced by hip hop and graffiti and skateboarding and shit like that. Like, yeah, I mean, I've been around it so much, and I've been spending my money solely on that type of shit
No
for
fact.
so long that like I know exactly what I want. You know what I mean? And then like shit, just like knowing what you're potentially capable of. Like, okay, so I'm like on the website making the jacket. I'm like, okay, so I can do 2 sleeve patches. I could potentially do a pocket hit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I'll already have designs worked up that'll be done by the homies or done by like graffiti artists that I know and stuff like that, and I'll just be messing back and forth, and then like I'll be inspired by like a shoe or something. So like I did a Letterman jacket, and I was like, ooh, I want to do it so I can wear it with the Union 4s, the black Union 4s. So I was like black, royal, yellow, red, you know what I mean? And then I'll just piece it together like that. But I mean, I like primary colors. I like some earth tones too, but I don't know. I like so many different things, you know what I mean? Like, I might wear all Arc'teryx yesterday. I might wear all Supreme on Friday. I might wear all Bape on Sunday. I might wear all etc. on Monday. I might wear Carhartt Work in Progress all Tuesday, you know what I mean? Like, but I'm just messing with a little bit of everything and just like not trying to be one-dimensional or one lane, because I know what like influenced me and like what all was in the gumbo pot for me. And so like I'm like, the Arc'teryx is like the graffiti in me. The Bape is like the nostalgic like Neptune Star Trek era and that DVD that came in the first Star Trek compilation and clips and all that. You know what I mean? And then the gallery department day, that's the new shit. You know what I mean? Like, or whatever. Facts. Like I'm still on some hometown shit. You know what I mean? And so I'm on that etc. Or I'm on that Alpha, or I'm on that whatever the homies making, you know what I mean? And their in-brand stuff. And I like stuff that tells a story. And I feel like everything that, like if somebody was to ask me about what I'm wearing, oh, I'm ready to go. Like we can talk about it for like a half an hour and I could tell you what inspired me or the first time I saw this or that. And like, it's really conversation, you know what I mean? Like the art is conversation, and like walking art, you know what I'm saying? Like, we could have a conversation about everything that everybody's wearing, you know what I mean? We could talk about, like, oh, when was the first time you met Harry? Oh, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you know Umi, you know Daz too? Oh, you know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know TV? Oh, Bape, like, have you ever been to Japan? Are you into KOTH and all that other type of stuff? I really fuck with Human Made. I mean, I used to like Bape. You know what I'm saying? Like, where's Nigo at? You know what I mean? Oh, you know Nigo's dropping an album? Like, it's all segue to conversation and just like shit like that and culture, and just like I'm inspired by like what young kids are on. Like it's crazy because like, you know, everybody used to wait in line for shoes and shit, but like now everything's online. Everybody's waiting in line for hats now, you know what I mean? The fitted hat game is crazy, you know what I mean? Stupid. And I'm in that too, you know what I mean? Because I used to wait in line. I was waiting in line for 99 Chrome 4s like outside of Nike Town, you know what I'm saying? Like all that, you know what I mean? I was at Foot Action harassing them for the And One mixtape on VHS, you know what I'm saying? Like, and not buying no And One shit, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I just need the mixtape. That's how I'm gonna mix niggas this weekend.
Right. But I'm gonna go to the Sweet Factory afterwards, you know what I'm saying? And like play it crazy by Foot Locker, you know what I'm saying? Because if you were at South Center back in the day, you remember when the Sweet Factory was right by the Foot Locker. And so like, or all that shit, man. It's just like, everything's a leeway into conversation, and then like it brings it back to home. Yeah. For me, you know what I'm saying? Because I never lived anywhere else, and and it's all relatable. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm sure having this conversation is stirring up memories you haven't thought about for a minute at the same time, or things that like so and so used to tell you about that you may not have experienced, but you've heard that same type of shit or whatever. You know what I mean? And
no facts, because as we've been talking, I've been staring at the shirt you have on right now, and it's
the Mastermind Bape.
Yeah, it's fucking fire. It's like it's one of those pieces where it's just like I've seen before, but I've never seen in person, and it's just like so effortlessly with the fit.
Well, when I got it, I thought it was stitched. I didn't realize it was like a raised screen print like that, so it's not even stitched. But the back hit too. But yeah, I like Neighborhood. I like Wood Taps. I hadn't had any like previous Mastermind pieces though before this, and I like this one. Essence was having a little sale, and I swooped up these Bape pants. Yeah, these are some 101 forces, and just like how we were talking about, like how Nigo left Bape. So I got the Human Made socks on just to let Nigo know I'm still rocking with them. You know what I'm saying? Limited hat, you know what I'm saying? You may have seen it with the gray UV, you may have seen it with the blue UV, but not with the yellow UV. Yeah. And just little things like that. You know what I'm saying? And I had to come right for Groovy tapes. You feel me? Like I knew what I was getting into. I had to come accordingly for the occasion.
We appreciate it. Yeah. We definitely appreciate it. Because
Cartier de Santos.
Yeah,
I was a little pinky action. I don't play tennis, but I like it. You know? Kim Knock for my jewelry, 18 and up, because internationally that 14 ain't passing.
Come on. Come on.
Oh, I think you need some.
I forgot about the buffs. These are white buffalo horn from the tusk of a white buffalo on the side of these, 18 on the side.
Good Lord.
Match the watch.
Come on.
The De Santos chronographic, though, not the other one. The big face with the start-stop function.
You know?
Yeah.
Just in case you didn't know.
You know when Jay was like, what's the difference between a 4.0 and a 4.6?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Come on. Dio, that is words of my guy Tavares. We got to do double hand claps.
I'm a nice guy, but we can get spicy.
No, I know. Like I love I love that because that is the essence of like the culture. Like just being able to be like, I'm a nice guy, but like don't forget. Like I get dressed like this. This
isn't for nothing.
Exactly.
Like, this isn't accidentally happen.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of sacrifice, risk, and obstacles took place in order for this to be in place. You know what I mean? Yeah. But get it how you live, and however you get it, I respect it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, that's
within reason. You know what I'm saying?
No, facts. No, I gotta go ahead and I'll let you hop in.
Go ahead, rock.
What do you think it'll take for us to get an essence of the Capitol Hill culture that existed before? Like, what do you think we need to start doing to bring that back?
I think people are doing it. It just needs to be able to stay. Like, so many things come and go. Like, our staples are, like, far and few between. You know what I mean? I think everybody's, like, tried something or, like, but I don't know. You know, what do you think?
More people that were actually a part of it being able to press go here.
Yeah.
I think because, like, what I love about, like, ETC and Aisle 4 and Paradise, those are people who, like, were outside experiencing culture and, like, now can press go on things and just, like, show people that, like, this is how this is supposed to be done, or these are the experiences that make things culture, not just like a moment. Like, these things are embedded.
I feel like Ari's really good for that because, like, this man came up with his own font style, and you'll see it literally on the streets, like on some, like, King County, Seattle, whatever. You'll see it on the gear. My man's chilling. He's in the cut. You wouldn't know otherwise. Got gold leaf Tennessee bottles that are being displayed in art galleries, wherever, you know what I'm saying? We don't even chop like that. Like, we don't even talk like that, but I know what's going on and I see these things, you know what I'm saying? And, like,
Facts.
Like, that's, like, I feel like when you were saying, like, being able to press go on shit, like, I don't know what he's capable of or whatever, but he's got his hands in so many different pots and, like, but I also know that he's not the most outspoken person, you know what I'm saying?
No,
but, like, if we could have more of that, if we could have, I don't know, you know, like, shit's just getting more and more expensive, you know what I mean? It's like, I think that we just kind of have to expand the reach on that, and, like, the Tacoma to Seattle connection, and, like, I don't know, and, like, we got to stop shooting shit up that's good, you know what I mean? Like, like parties that are cracking and that are there, like, they can only be lived as long as people are having fun and being safe, you know what I'm saying? And, like, liabilities within the city and just, like, all the politics and shit, like Lemonade on Sundays used to crack for so long, you know what I'm saying? And, like, that used to be something that you could always depend on, and, like, it's important to expand and, like, have people link up, but, like, sometimes the connection happens and this shit gets sprayed up. But, like,
and you lose all the building of what it stood for and what it could have been if it would have continued.
Yeah, for sure. And then, like, Yeah, and then like, I don't know, like less politics. You know what I'm saying? Should just more because it's the right thing, or because like it's popping, or because that shit's dope. Like I don't know. People be so like self-absorbed. It's so easy to be self-absorbed these days. People like live within what they are and what they're comparing themselves to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like,
no, that's a fact. I'm gonna shift gears a little bit and kind of just ask you about your personal music journey. I feel like we've talked the last hour and really only scratched the surface of just your legacy in the game and just like what you've been able to do for like the last 10 years. Like you recently just were able to put, how do you say it? Hell of a State on all platforms. And being that album came out 10 years ago, like what does it mean to be able to be like in it and like not like in it for 10 years? Like a lot of people, like as I was saying before, like a lot of people aren't able to make it past their first good year, and you've been able to stay in at 10 and still like put music out, still continue to rock with your fan base, and just like the quality of music has never stopped. You know what I mean? Yeah.
First of all, it's the passion. I'm passionate about it. That's my baby. That's my love. And then like, it's like the streets, you know what I mean? If you hit a high, like with like whatever you're doing, you're always going to be chasing that high regardless of if it goes down or if it goes, you know what I mean? And especially if you love it at the same time and it's not hurting nobody, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think that has a lot to do with the longevity. I appreciate you doing your homework and coming with that question. That was a really dope question. So like the Hell of a State shit formed with, I was in a group called State of the Artists. Shout out Parker Joe and Hyphenated. And Tayshawn was in this group called Hella Dope with Germ. And like that group like birthed like Jarv D and like Steezy NASA and like Cloud Nice and all that shit, right? So we had success with collaborating and we're already just like homies and had known each other. And me and Tayshawn known each other since high school, which is a long time for me. Yeah. So we got together and we did that project. And like when we did that first project 10 years ago, that was like back when I'm talking about with like the nobody having music videos and shit like that. Yeah. So we dropped a music video and it like it leaked actually. And
was it Brain Champagne?
Brain Champagne, yeah, exactly that. So Brain Champagne came out and it came out on the Seattle Times. And we had it on Vimeo at first, and then we put it on YouTube. But, like, that shit was going crazy. And, like, I mean, that's still one of my favorite visuals to this day. Shout out Stephen Gray. He did a lot of great videos. He did shit for everybody, like Fresh Espresso, Mad Rad, those are other groups from that era. Yeah. I mean, shit, he even did some shit for Magnet. He did shit for Flavor Blue. I don't know. He's done shit for a lot of people, but that video came out so crazy, and like there weren't videos out like in the town already, like let alone having like a video of like that quality. No, not to like dick ride myself.
No. It was like it. For it being like 10 years ago, like I think about it, and I'm just like that. You could place that shot in
the car
today.
Shots.
Yeah, with the fucking plane over it, bro. Jarv whipping and like shout out to Jarv, but like that was a different time. Like our careers were all at different places at that time point. You know what I'm saying? And like, and then that turning into the Fader look and like having Fader come out here with Vitamin Water and like we had them at the Kingways. And we had the kids out and shit, and Tay got a tattoo, and like
I saw that. But I wanted to like just that. I feel like that shot, like that specific car shot, has been. It's now part of like Washington's DNA. Like, and for you to be one of like the first people to do it here and just like show people how like it's just the SS and the homies. But it's just such a clean black and white video. It's like it just set a tone, you know.
Stephen Gray's execution was crazy, and like we spent so much time that whole entire day more so setting up shots and like building rigs than doing any shooting that day. Like the rig that we built onto the car so that you could get the angles, and especially 10 years ago when that shit's not accessible, that's just not at Glazers. You know, not now, not then, not, you know what I'm saying? Like the fucking like built out rig. We had somebody that was literally building rigs, put them on top of the car, and then like, then Stefan's like, okay, we built it. Like now I need to make sure the angle's right, this, and like, that shit was crazy, man. Like, this guy is really a perfectionist and, like, was working with a lot of really dope people. And these days, I have full control of my videos, and I'm, like, coming up with, like, most of the concepts and everything like that. That, I had no idea what I was getting into. He came up with the whole treatment and, like, bodied that shit.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, I just was, like, when I saw it, I was in wow. You know what I'm saying?
The champagne in the head was crazy.
Yeah, with the smoke and shit. Yeah, he went. Yeah, he really like took it literally there, and then like he went with the metaphor too, and then like with the dipping with the as my night proceeds coolly, the weather blows through me. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, and like during that time, like the scene was so much different. We had like the jet set on Mondays at this spot called the Capitol Club. That's now what's it now? They got food downstairs and upstairs. It's across from the old Zebra Club on Capitol.
Sugar Hill?
Yeah, Sugar Hill. So Sugar Hill now, it used to be the Capitol Club. And every Monday, $1 Rainiers, live performances from Jarv D on Monday, Steezy NASA one Monday, me one Monday, Isabella DeGraff. We're getting smacked. Dollar beers. Like,
people
are smoking weed out on the balcony. They got a balcony, and it was cool to smoke out like back then and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, they have a downstairs where there's bathrooms downstairs, so there's all this separation from like if you want to, you know what I'm saying? And like, and it's 2008. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's different. It's a culture. It's like a thing. We're setting up for the people who are in these bars every day, who make music and like have a 9 to 5. So the dollar Rainiers are going up all day, and you get to see the homies.
It was more accessible. Yeah. Like going out and kicking it was more accessible, and it was more like, all that.
Is that where you performed in a mink?
Nah, I wore the mink to a Cameron show, but no, I may have performed in a mink at Nectar. Yeah. But we did a Lost Boys theme. And so I had like the full like thermal onesie on with the crown, and I had the Aqua Women's AIDS on. And,
fire.
Yeah. It was crazy.
The
homie came out with like a fur vest on and shit, and had like red pants on, and like, you know what I mean? He had like some crazy like fur hoodie situation, and we used to come out and like themed. Like we'd be like, what kind of night are we trying to do? You know what I'm saying? Like,
nah, performing in the mink coat is different. It's just like it sets a tone of like what you're about to get, the energy you're about to receive. It's just like
okay. And then I came out with that same mink when I did like I've only done really like 1 or 2 shows since I've been back doing the KOTH, and I came out at Crocodile Back Bar for a sold out crowd with the mink, Amiri down with the white threes with the little blue bottoms. And I had the crown, and then I threw out hella Haribo candy. Getting little mini Haribo gummy packs. It was around. That's fun. It was fun.
That's fire.
Sorry if I'm cutting you off. I'm just getting excited about the things that you're talking about.
No, it's fine. Like I'm never like I'll never stop you from talking, because like at the end of the day, we're here to like celebrate you, and like I'm interested in the stories as well. So it's like it only will lead me to just like I'm gonna save it, because if he answers the question of me just mentioning it, I'm good. I don't gotta ask it. I could just vibe and just continue on, and I'm just like, I don't take anything away, because at the end of the day, it's like it's still a conversation. So that should happen in regular. Like when you get excited about, like me and Tavares talk all the time. He'll be talking. I'll get way more excited about the first thing he said that he cannot finish. So I'm just like, it's just like, you know.
And then at the end, he's like, so back to what I was about to tell you. Like,
yeah. But like, this is what I meant.
That was just the lead up. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm glad you enjoyed that.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm I think this was amazing.
Yeah, me too, bro. I'm over here swifty off that peasy.
Suited off the cleat.
I can really tell because
The
like
Clinko?
when I said that to you, you didn't respond. You were still like, "Yeah, bro, this is amazing." Like I'm vibing.
You know how we do it over here in the Groovy headquarters, man. We get down.
Wavy.
Is there anything before we get out of here? Is there? I usually let Tavares do this, but I'm gonna let him be swifty and chill out.
Seasonings.
Is there anything that you want to leave people off with, or like that we didn't ask you that you can like plug at the moment?
Man, I think we talked about a fair amount of shit, more shit about like Seattle than about me, but I feel like we talked about me because of my experience through that shit. I got a new album out I just dropped, The Elephant in the Room. I dropped it January 27th on my birthday. I got something coming up soon in April. I got a whole bunch of old shit, not that old of shit, but go to KOTH 206 on YouTube and you'll see all my videos. I got like 20 videos, video shot here, Detroit, California, New York, Texas, wherever, you name it. I'm there with 10 to 20 racks talking some shit.
The one with you and Gab is fire.
Thank you.
That
Where I'm
was
like
fire.
acting.
Yeah, you're acting. I was like, that was fire.
Thank you, bro.
The when you run to the back and she punches you and you guys just like basically,
we jump me.
Yeah, I was like, that's acting for real.
I came up with that treatment on me. I came up with that treatment, and then I was like, "Yo, I want it to be like on some Busta Rhymes, like give me some more shit, like where I play multiple shit and have it be fish-eyed and shit, and like that shit was hella fun, and like." That's the type of shit you can only do with like somebody that you're hella comfortable with. So when I did it with Gab, it was like we already knew we were just about to clown. I think I told her about it and she was like, yeah. And then we started doing it and she was like, wow, you're really a fool. And Pinder was there too when we were shooting and shit. It was dope. We shot that at an Airbnb that I was staying at.
Oh, fire.
Yeah.
No, it gave me that like it was. And it was a classic like LA like style home, so it really gave me that Busta Rhymes feel of just like give me some more, just like the animated movements, like when you're the cop just like strolling around.
I was trying to get my T-1000 on. This nigga, you know, he had his arms in his hands. Like you watch that movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah,
no, that
shit was hella fun.
No, this has been amazing. Thank you for coming on for real. This is
appreciate y'all having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Man, you've been grooving with the South. This is KWJT. We got Thad, Corey, Solana. Fuck you, Koi.